O Show. This is the Big O Show.
He is the man who is searching for Sam Bennett's jersey. That's him. Yes, sir. Have you found Sam Bennett's jersey yet? Huh? I can't hear you. You can't hear me? You got to check your mic. Mic. Turn it on. Turn it off. Uh-oh. He went blank. It's probably he's got his mic off, right? That's probably what it is. Here we go.
Okay.
How about there? Okay. No, wait a minute. I unmuted it. No, there we go. Don't touch it. I unmuted it. Okay, go ahead.
That's never happened before with us.
There you go. No, but that's the beauty of live radio now. People are entertained with the silliness. So have you found Sam Bennett's jersey? Is the question.
What a weird story, eh? So apparently this fan in Calgary is a big Sam Bennett fan, gets a jersey autographed by Sam. It's her prized possession. And a family friend, something, the way it reads to me, comes over to the house for a party or something and steals the jersey and then sells it at a bar that night. Goes to a bar in Calgary and sells the jersey. So,
how much did he sell it for?
Who knows? $100? I don't know.
God,
$200.
I mean, really?
$200?
So what? They invited a crack addict to the party. God bless, dude.
Listen, you can talk to Steve Gordon about this. Steve Gordon remembers this. We were in Edmonton one time, which is not far from Calgary. We were at a bar, and it was a blizzard coming, right? And I had I used to wear this leather coat, and we were at a pub, and I hung it up, and closing time comes, and the leather coat is gone. And the bouncer's like, "Oh, yeah, Joe took it." And I'm like, "Who's Joe?" And he goes, "Oh, he lives over down the street. He's having a party." So we walked in there looking for the check.
And did you find it?
Yeah. Alberta, man. Weird.
So wait a minute. So did he just take it accidentally, or was he?
He just took it. He took it. He just took it. He saw it. Hey, let's look nice. I'll take this. It's cold.
Isn't it kind of nasty? Like, don't you want to just grab some stranger's jacket? Like, that's nasty.
It was like a big coat though, and it was a blizzard outside. It was,
right. Oh well, yeah. I guess he was ill prepared on his way back to wherever he was.
Made me ill prepared.
Yeah. Oh wow, you must
walking the streets of Edmonton.
How many blocks did you have to walk freezing your ass off?
3 or 4. It was 3 or 4 blocks.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Only Sean can put up with that. Yet we go to New York and it's like 20-something degrees. The wind is howling through the city, and Sean's outside taking pictures in a t-shirt, bro.
Yeah. My cousin's like that. Yeah.
Like
I'm taking
nothing.
him to Browns games and it's 20 degrees and he's wearing shorts. I'm like, you're just showing off because it's cold. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, I'm freezing my ass off. I've got a couple of shirts, a thick-ass jacket, and here's Sean making me look like a total pussy. And he's hanging out with a t-shirt, just hanging out, walking through the streets. Like, hey, no, this is nothing. I'm like,
it's one thing to step outside of a restaurant or something, and
right.
have a smoke.
My man cruises, walks down the streets
crazy
like it's nothing, and I'm like, how are you not freezing your ass off, dude?
Different strokes.
That is one tough hombre, bro. I got to tell you. All right,
what's up? What's going on?
The fan, by the way. I think the fan won because the Avalanche and Tampa are the best matchup that we can have. Yeah. The storylines are phenomenal with Colorado's amazing season, and then obviously Tampa going for the three-peat, which is just an incredible story. And if they can three-peat against this Avalanche team, I get it, New Yorkers. I know we're the sixth borough down here in South Florida, I'm sure. And we've got a lot of listeners in the New York area because I see the numbers. Sorry about you guys. You're a young team. You'll be back. You're fantastic. Your goalie.
The Rangers are ahead of schedule. So.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they are loaded. They're fantastic. This was the best thing for hockey.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Rangers would have been a very interesting series. I was talking to someone last night about the Avalanche, and he was like, "This is one of the great teams we've ever seen." I'm like, oh, "Let's wait a second there, Bubba. The Western Conference, we've talked about it here.
It's terrible.
Easy. Yeah. They got Nashville to open with. Then they got a pretty good St. Louis team, but not a great. That wasn't a special St. Louis team. And then they got Edmonton. So okay, They got to ease through it. They got to ease through the Western Conference playoffs, and now we'll see what they've got. I don't like their goaltending. I like everything else about them. I like everything else about the.
Would you
the
put this
Colorado
Avalanche
Avalanche.
team better than the one our boys lost to in the mid '90s, to Forsberg and those guys?
Such a different era. I mean, excuse me.
Okay.
Any team that gets to this level now is better than those teams. I mean, it's just like this Dolphin team might beat the '84 team. Yeah, even though they weren't really better, but
The skill set. I see
you know
what
what
you're
I
saying.
mean? Yeah. So that Colorado team, in '96, that was their first year in Colorado. They came over from Quebec City. They were the Nordiques, and they win it in their first year in Denver. They added Patrick Waugh in goal. That was the turning point for them. This was a Quebec Nordique team that had been building and building and building, and then all came together in Colorado, to the chagrin of the Miami sports fan for sure. But this is a very good Colorado team. Are they as good as those teams? Time will tell. But they're another team. They've got like $20 million under the salary cap next year. They're fine. This team isn't going anywhere. This Colorado team's going to be good for a while.
Think about Canada, bro. The Nordiques and the Expos. Yeah. Like they left when they were at their best.
Well, the Expos, the Expos were a shell of themselves. They struggled their first few years in Washington. They did.
No, but what I'm saying is but the shitstorm started before that, is what I'm saying. They were amazing.
That's what allowed them to leave. Yeah, we only
right, exactly.
Jeffrey Loria sacking 2 franchises.
Right, exactly, because that Expos team should have
ruining
been
2 markets.
In '94. It should have been Yankees Expos in '94, and then after that team
my Indians might have pulled it up in that one. They were a game out of first place in '94. The Indians could have challenged. Who knows?
Could have, but I still would have given
6 weeks left. But yes, you were right.
Those Yankees were loaded.
Best team in baseball in '94, but they didn't move for 10 years.
Yeah,
so,
man. What a shame,
they had
dude.
sold off everybody, and they
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That strike lockout, whatever it was, I forget, ruined Montreal.
Right.
And that allowed Jeffrey Loria to swoop in and with no money and take over and do his thing. Yeah.
Yeah, do the scummy shit that he normally did and got away with it. All right. You had a story like everybody else. Panthers end up firing a couple of assistant coaches.
Yes.
We have not heard yet on Brunette. I kind of get the feeling that Brunette is simply a backup plan right now. Because
it's taken so long, right?
It's taken so long. It tells me you're trying to get the big fish. If you don't get the big fish, then hey, Andrew, we're going to give you a second shot at this. But if you get, the Barry Trotz or whoever else, see you, Andrew. And that coach will bring in his own staff anyway.
Right.
So, you kind of get the feeling that this is a wait and see for Brunette now. Is that the way you're reading it also? Because you're a hell of a lot closer than any of us.
I still think they're waiting. If Barry Trotz wants to come here, if they can get the Joel Quenneville thing cleared up. But what I also think that this shows is it might just be Andrew Brunette, because now you've got Ulf Samuelsson, Derek McKenzie. Just a few years ago was playing. This was a fairly inexperienced coaching staff, but it was an inexperienced coaching staff under Joel Quenneville. He could kind of guide them, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you had an inexperienced coaching staff under an inexperienced coach. Andrew Brunette had only been an assistant coach 1 year, I think, in Minnesota. His experience in Minnesota was as a player and as a front office guy. And now he's being thrown into the interim head coach, and with an assistant coach who 3 years ago was the team's captain. And Ulf Samuelsson had some coaching experience. Long story short, this seems like
you're describing Flo. You're describing Flo building an offensive staff for the Dolphins.
Yeah, right. So, but with an inexperienced coach in Flo. So with Quenneville, it's okay to have that. You're going to teach these guys. You're going to guide them. Now Q's gone, and it's the kids are running the place. It's the substitute teacher, doing everything. So that said, from what this looks like to me, clearing the deck. Bring in some experienced assistant coaches to work with Andrew Brunette. So, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Right.
A lot can happen.
Right. What's your gut tell you?
Again,
Is it assistance to bring
and
in
it has
Burnett?
no basis in anything, Quindle.
Okay.
All
right. So walk us through this, because obviously I think everybody would love to see Coach Q come back.
Not everybody.
Huh?
And that's the thing you got to go through.
Not everybody in that organization? Really?
Not everybody in the, because it's going to be a PR nightmare. And I think that they've got to work through all that. That's what I mean. No, not because of Joel Quenneville, the coach. No.
Okay. So what do they have to clear up in order for Q to come back to the league? What's going on behind the scenes? Because I have no idea.
It has to be cleared through the National Hockey League. Commissioner Gary Bettman, when he was down here during the Capitals series, he said that if Joel Quenneville wants to be reinstated, he's got to go through him first. That was a month ago, 6 weeks, 5 weeks ago. He said that Joel had not spoken to him at that point. That may have happened. Listen, again, we talked about it last week. We don't know what happened in that meeting when the Florida Panthers flew up to New York to meet with Gary Bettman and the deputy commissioner. It was Joel Quenneville, it was Matthew Caldwell, and Bill Zito in that meeting. We don't know what was said. It was not an official kind of thing. All we know is Joel Quenneville came out of that meeting resigning as coach of the Panthers.
Right.
We don't know did he really resign? Did he walk away from almost 4 years left on a contract that pays $6 million per year? I mean, he's got right now, if that contract is still intact, it's $18 million. He just walked away from that. So maybe there was a fine. Maybe the Panthers paid him half of it. I don't know. They won't talk about it. So we don't know. Is Joel Quenneville a free agent, or is he still under contract to the Florida Panthers? I don't know. Maybe the Florida Panthers still have his rights, even if that happened. We're going to have to wait and see. And the longer this goes on, we're just going to wait and see what happens with, where things fit. Does Barry Trotz want to come here? Now, there's a brewery in Winnipeg that's giving him free beer for life if he's, because he's from Winnipeg. Does he want to go there? I don't know. I don't want to live in Winnipeg in the wintertime. He probably doesn't either. So we'll have to wait and see what happens next. But and again, it doesn't have any basis in anything. But I've been hearing for months that, don't sleep on Joel Quenneville, and it makes sense. I don't think he walked away from that kind of money, not for this transgression. Is he guilty of lying about not knowing, saying he didn't know about it? Yes. Should the Chicago Blackhawks have fired this video coach in 2010? Absolutely. Should have fired him right when you found out something went down. They didn't do that. And everybody else with the Blackhawks is out because of it. Joel Quenneville right now lied about not knowing about it, saying, I didn't know anything about it, never heard anything about it. That's nonsense. He did. Everybody on that team, when they came for training camp that next year, had heard about it. The kid was a pariah. He did know about it. And that's what he's guilty of right now. Again, the lie is always worse than the crime, right?
Right.
So.
Right. You're right. And listen, we saw with Mark Cuban and stuff that happened in his organization, and the NBA had to put him through the ringer for all of that
and
stuff.
This is a Panther team that doesn't really care about the national. They know they're going to take a hit. If they were to bring back Joel Quenneville, they would take a PR hit. I don't know that they care that much. I think they care more what local fans are going to say about it. Don't forget, this is, an owner, Vinny Viola. He joined he was going to be part of Donald Trump's cabinet in 2016. He doesn't care about PR. He's going to do what he thinks is best for this organization. And if that's bringing back Joel Quenneville with the blessing of the National Hockey League, if the NHL says Joel Quenneville can coach, why shouldn't he coach here?
Yeah. But by the way, didn't he eventually back out of that?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So I think he was worried a little bit about the PR.
No, it was there was a whole bunch of stuff with that, but it wasn't. No, he was ready to do it. He was going to be the Secretary of the Army, and it became background checks and all that stuff. And somebody there, I don't even remember the details, but they were like something about owning the Panthers was a problem. I mean, the guy owned an airline that deported people, but that didn't matter. But owning a hockey team in Florida did. It was just a whole.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. No, well, did anything then?
Yeah. No. That's crazy stuff. All right. So
anyway, they don't
does
really.
does Quenneville have to go through some kind of counseling or something for the commit, or we just don't know what the hell has to happen?
I'm sure that's already been done. I'm sure there's already been. There's going to be wherever he ends up, whether it's here, whether it's somewhere else, there will be guaranteed. Joel Quenneville went to the X, Y, and Z Center in Skokie, Illinois.
So wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Went through 6 weeks of,
So wait a minute. Hold on a second. You're on to something here. So then the Panthers, you cannot give up the rights because you were forced to fire the guy, basically.
Right.
So you got to hang on to those rights. So just in case he can come back, if anybody else wants him, you got to compensate us in order to either
if he's still under contract. If he resigned in the Panthers, they walked away, then he's a free agent. They don't do that anymore. The whole draft pick thing, they don't do that anymore.
Okay, all right.
But if he's under contract to the Panthers and he's allowed back, but the Panthers don't want him, then you got to cut him loose, whatever it is. But I would think that if he's cleared by the NHL to coach, the Panthers are going to want him to be their coach.
I would hire him. Coach.
They paid him.
Yeah, I don't mind. Bring him back, bro. But okay, one more thing before I let you go. I'm going to ask you every week, any disgruntled stars out there, has anything developed in the world of the NHL that the Panthers could go after to add a certain piece by trading pieces?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talked about Evander Kane. His season is over. He's a free agent now in Edmonton. I know the Panthers kicked the tires on him when he was cut loose from the San Jose Sharks. You can Google Evander Kane, you'll see a bunch of stuff going on. But he is definitely a skilled player, a big physical guy. You probably could get him on the cheap because his reputation still precedes him. But I don't know if you want to do that. Again, right now the Panthers are $4 million under the salary cap. They don't, they're with works. They got some trades in the works. Claude Giroux, they're still wanting to bring back. They can't do that under the current constraints of the salary cap. So, there are a lot of dominoes that have to fall here, and a lot of that won't happen until the draft comes, and that's July 7th. So,
Giroux and who's this other guy that could
and Sherratt.
Could that
defenseman?
If they both leave after you made moves for them, does that backfire on Zito?
No, because that's how hockey works. Those guys, you look at them as rentals, right? Unless there was a deal made, and I could see that in Sherratt in Giroux's case. The Panthers were negotiating against themselves and still gave up a first-round pick, still gave up a top prospect in Owen Tippett, which they were happy to do. Owen Tippett needs a fresh start somewhere. He'll be better in Philly than he would be here. But to give up that first-round pick, when you're the only team he would come to, I think there was probably some kind of a wink handshake deal that he's coming back here. Because you were able to talk to him for a while because he made it clear he was only coming to Florida. So if there was any kind of a backdoor deal made, they were able to do it.
I hope so, man. It would be nice.
For Sherratt, the defenseman, that was a straight up hockey deal. And you're bringing in a guy like that, a 30-year-old defenseman. This will be his last big contract. Florida doesn't have the money to do it. If something can be worked out with him looking forward down the road, maybe you bring him back. But I don't know how it works. Right now, it doesn't work at all. If you're able to make some other moves, perhaps.
Open up space. Right.
Yeah. You really need to open up some space.
All right. What are you working on at Florida Hockey now? So folks can subscribe, by the way. Pennies.
And thank you guys for all the subscribe. Yeah, this has been a very good month, even though it's been the off season. Subscriptions and readership have been very, very strong, and we appreciate that. Thank you. What I'm working on right now, we're looking through the roster. Obviously, I'm making some phone calls. We're checking out what's going here and there with the Panthers. But we're working our way down. Again, I said the draft is where all the trades come down, and then you've got free agency July 13th that starts. So we're looking at the future of some Panthers. We started last week with Mason Marchment. He's an unrestricted free agent. How do you bring him back? I don't know that you can. You can't right now. Maybe you can down the road. So that kind of thing. Tomorrow we're going to have what's up with Maxim Mammon, guy that came in from left the Panthers in 2017 when they tried to send him to the minors, went back home to Russia, played in the KHL, returned to the Panthers this year, had a really good year, 40 games, was kind of in contractual limbo. But remember, at the trade deadline, the Panthers needed to have some flexibility.
Yeah.
They could have sent him to anyway. He ended up playing 40 games, 7 goals, 14 points. So we're looking at what's it going to take to bring him back. And he may not want to come back. I mean, he may see another team, Philadelphia, let's just throw out there. Yeah, or maybe he could be a top 6 guy, maybe, get better minutes somewhere other than Florida. So we'll have to see.
All right. Put you on the spot. Prediction, Cup, who wins it? How many games?
Yeah, I think this is the end of the road for Tampa Bay. I just think they've just played too much hockey. Playing in Colorado is tough, man.
Is Point coming back for this?
Who?
Is Point? Is he coming back?
Yeah, I think Point will play in this. He's been practicing a lot. He's been part of the warm-ups and all that stuff. So I would think with this last couple break between Game 6 and Game 1 tomorrow, I would think Braden Point, if not in Games 1 or 2 in Colorado, maybe you bring him back 3 and 4 in Tampa. But I listen, they still got this Tampa team is loaded. They're tough to beat at home. They're very tough to beat in Tampa. But Colorado is a very tough place. This team comes at you in swarms. If Tampa Bay sells out and does what it did against the Panthers, they're going to be their shot.
I am going to, in the offseason, I will kidnap Barkov and I will kidnap Stamkos. And I'm going to take him to Dr. Frankenstein's lair. And I'm going to put those silver caps on each of them. And I'm going to have the spirit of Stamkos go into Barkov. And then that's it. It's over.
No, there you go.
And
good luck.
I've solved the problem. I just want you to know that. Florida Hockey Now is where you need to subscribe, not to Dr. Frankenstein, to Florida Hockey Now. Subscribe and follow him on Twitter at George Richards, of course. And if you can, never steal his jacket, please. Okay?
Please.
Leave his jacket alone.
Please.
All right?
Please.
George, much love. We'll catch up next week, my friend. Thank you for the news.
All right, my man. Be good, brother.
You got it. There it is, baby. The lockdown segment. Boom.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.